I scraped and summarized hundreds of AI engineering job postings from major US cities in order to figure out what skills and experience are actually in demand right now in 2025. And some of what I found might surprise you. Gotta watch now. Right? But seriously, I had a lot of fun building this presentation and I've suited up for the occasion. So I think you're going to enjoy this and find it very useful. Now, first, I want to talk about what is AI engineering and why I'm interested in it. A good proxy for understanding what an AI engineer is, I think, is this post from Latent Space. And this is what really inspired me to go all in on AI engineering this year on Zaz and Codes. And so this is a pretty good illustration of what the post describes. And an AI engineer, they are asserting this. You know, it's yet to be seen what exactly this role will be, but I believe it's going to be somewhere between an ML engineer and a full stack engineer. So it's kind of like using these LLM tools and building agentic systems with AI and doing stuff that's honestly just so cool and has so much business value. And I think the AI engineer is the person who's going to be plugging these things into businesses to get value from them. So this post has a really great rundown on this and why they are so bullish on it for the next 10 years. But I wanted to say why I'm so bullish on it. I did some research of myself. Here's some Indeed job posting statistics. And you can see down here the percentage of job postings containing Gen AI terms like ChatGPT, generative language models, chatbots, stuff like that. This is, growing exponentially this year. And I expect this to continue increasing next year and in the years to come. And here's a post from LinkedIn about the top jobs for 2024. And number 10 here is artificial intelligence engineer. And that's exactly what I'm talking about in this video. This is top 25 fastest growing roles in the US. And the last thing I want to show you is from this Future of Jobs report from the World Economic Forum. No big deal. This is from May of 2023. And they have a quote in here that says, the majority of the fastest growing roles are in technology. AI and ML specialists top the list of fast growing jobs. So I think there's a lot of value in this technical data industry. So let's get into the data and what I uncovered. And I have prepared a very business-like presentation to show you on AI engineer role overview from all of these job descriptions that I scraped and got. And by the way, I used ChatGPT for all of this. I did a chain of density style thing where I took all of the information that I've scraped and I said, summarize this. And then I did that iteratively for all of the 100+ job postings. And I baked it down into this data that we're seeing right here. So what do we have for educational requirements? We're looking for computer science, engineering, data science, AI, mathematics, and related fields. And a master's degree is something that is often looked for. And for senior roles, a PhD is mentioned. And I should mention here, the jobs that I scraped are not like AI engineer exactly. They're things that are related to that. So some of these are like machine learning engineers. I really focused on things that had AI in them. So it might be like an AI ML engineer. I tried to make it focused on the type of role that I'm envisioning here for this AI engineer going into the next 5-10 years. So what are some experience requirements? Looking for 3 to 10 years in the AI ML space, data science, or software engineering. Looking for some production deployment experience. In fact, it's crucial. And a proven track record with AI ML. I think the most important experience is this one right here in the image called Syntax for Enforcer. So what are some core programming skills that we're looking for? Python is the top programming skill. And from there's a lot of secondary languages which were mentioned a surprisingly large number of times. And I wouldn't have expected this, but Java was the thing that came up the most often. These base level languages like understanding Java and C++ for the purposes of integration into like existing products. Next, we're looking at some key technical frameworks. And this girl writing this octopus thing, she knows a thing or two about frameworks. We're going to be interested in TensorFlow and PyTorch. These are deep learning frameworks. Scikit-learn is a Python framework for doing more like vanilla modeling, not deep learning, but like you could do gradient boosted regression or gradient boosted trees, or you could do like logistic regression, linear regression, all that stuff. It's like a very, it's like the toolkit for doing machine learning. Keras, that's another deep learning style framework for doing neural network stuff. And Hugging Face. Hugging Face provides you access to a lot of models that other people have trained. And so you can sort of use this Hugging Face API interface as a Python library to like download these models onto your computer and work with them. Right. And then some LLM specific frameworks. So AI engineering is like applied, taking language models and applying them to business. It could be, I think, phrased as simply as that in one respect. So with that in mind, using a framework like LangChain or Llama Index, or there's Semantic Kernel, these were frameworks around LLMs that were mentioned. I actually have never heard of Semantic Kernel before. It could be interesting. Looks pretty cool. All right, so next is cloud and infrastructure. And here, witness this absolute cloud legend drinking that deboogie juice. So the major cloud platforms are AWS, which is the most common, and I would prioritize learning that above the other platforms. And next, Google Cloud and Azure. And the choice between these two depends on the industry, I think. There's industry-specific sort of preferences. I've noticed the finance industry tends to prefer Azure more. Google Cloud Platform more swings to smaller organizations because they give a lot of grants to startups and small companies, which encourage them to use Google Cloud. But also Google Cloud is a really mature machine learning ecosystem. Some ML ops tools that you might consider are MLflow, Kubeflow, AWS SageMaker, Google's Vertex AI, and Azure has one called, very originally, Azure ML. That's actually kind of like not really making some crazy name up. All right, we're at the halfway point of this presentation, and we're back to the girl riding the octopus who's into Kubernetes. And we're going to talk about DevOps and deployment. And these are things that appeared in these job postings, topics like containerization, so using Docker and Kubernetes. I think Docker is something that's so fun and cool and very useful. So everybody writing software of any kind should know about Docker. Another thing that came up here was CI/CD. So you could use tools like Jenkins to do CI/CD, Terraform as well. And the one I would recommend getting some experience with is GitHub Actions, because you can do a lot for free there. And they're very powerful and integrate really well with your Git workflow that you're already doing. Speaking of Git, we have some version control things that have come up. You got to know Git, GitHub, and I guess Bitbucket appeared, which I'm frankly surprised about. Next, we've come to my favorite image of the entire presentation, because this really embodies what working in data is like. I'm sure everyone can take a minute and really resonate with how this guy feels right now. Let's talk about the data engineering stack. So some big data platforms are Apache Spark. This is very in demand, knowing how to write Spark jobs to do batch processing of big data. BigQuery is a data warehouse, and it also performs a lot of functions of data sort of processing, where you could say just throw a bunch of data into BigQuery and then do this ELT sort of life cycle thing where you take the data, you put it in there, and then you do the transformations inside of your data warehouse. BigQuery would be very efficient at doing that. That's a giant decentralized. I work with BigQuery all the time. Anyway, Databricks is another big data platform that came up a lot in these job postings. And for databases, we are seeing PostgreSQL, MongoDB for NoSQL database, Redis for like a lightweight dev tool, and DynamoDB. And I would suggest having some knowledge and pretty decent knowledge of all of these tools for the integration side of things, just for being a general developer, very useful. And so lastly, for the AI engineering aspect, vector databases came up. And so FIAS is one. I believe this is from Facebook, and then there's one called Chroma. So these vector databases are for indexing embeddings and doing searches on those embeddings. And very, very cool, very interesting stuff. So now we're talking about some core responsibilities. So what is actually, when companies look for an AI engineer, what are they actually looking for? What do they want you to do? Design and develop AI solutions, deploy and manage production models, optimize model performance, build and maintain ML pipelines, manage LLMs and generative models. And by the way, this is in my vision of the future, like this is one that's going to be just increasingly prevalent. But this will give you a good idea of like what is in this data set, what I've looked at, what sort of jobs are appearing, what sort of requirements are being asked for. Developing APIs and software development kits, and other responsibilities are monitoring and ensuring model performance. That makes a lot of sense. Implementing security and compliance, of course, creating visualizations and reports, and staying current with AI advances, providing technical leadership, and supporting client engagements. Making that money, right? Okay. And so lastly, as we wrap this up, I've got a few more slides left. And there are some model development skills which were in demand. And we're looking at model lifecycle management. This refers to the idea that you have a model that's trained and working, or perhaps you're using some off-the-shelf model that's functioning, but that won't function forever. So we need a way of upgrading that and doing that smoothly. And that's like the life cycle of a model. Performance optimization is keeping an eye on how it's working using evals in the language of large language models, and responsible AI practices, so behaving ethically. This is a huge one for LLMs, model AI, or responsible practices, because what kind of responses are we getting out of these, right? And are we putting like bad things out, like fake information? It's just like a whole world of this. So to me, this is a really big point for LLMs. And additionally, model explainability, because we can't really know how these language models come up with their things. Ethical considerations, and all of this, of course, is applicable to machine learning and modeling and everything to do with ML. Okay, so lastly, as we start to really wrap this up, there's a small section on visualization and tools. Visualization is powerful, and I see this as like a pretty easy thing to do. So sort of make sure you have some familiarity with these sort of things. This point around notebooks, I find Jupyter Notebooks really useful for like data prototyping and just like playing around with code and stuff like that. So, but in terms of these data visualization tools, like say Matplotlib and Seaborn, large language models can largely generate these sort of visualizations for you. So I don't think there's a lot of need to like go and spend a day learning Matplotlib, for example. And so model optimization, this came up a lot, and I wanted to exclude this. This is like in the tools section, but there's some frameworks like ONNX, TensorRT. Honestly, I don't even know what these are. This makes it hardware optimization. So these came up in the job postings, and this could just be some like sample size thing, but this could be an interesting, 20,000 stars. So this could be something interesting to look at depending on the niche that you're looking to get into. So lastly, I've got some essential skills. This is important. Pay attention. Machine learning and deep learning. Okay. LLM and prompt engineering. Yep. Data engineering. That's foundational. We need to get the data. We need to have good data. MLOps and cloud deployments. This is like, oh yeah, it's just MLOps. And like this is huge, right? Cloud deployments, cloud stuff is huge. Then some soft skills like being able to problem solve, communication and collaboration. And that's it. So you guys, if you're feeling like this guy right now, I understand. I felt like this guy most days of my life. I am this guy. But the most important question I have for you right now is, what did I miss in this presentation? Because I'd love to have more of a community sort of voice and discussion in the comments. So go down there and add in like what you think I missed, or maybe what you think I got wrong, so that we can all have a better understanding of this AI engineering role and what it's going to look like and what it looks like right now. because that's the main focus of my channel in 2025. And I've actually created a whole course on AI engineering. So you can go ahead to zazencodes.com right here, and you can sign up for that course right now. So if you're visiting this after January 2025, you should see this actual course available for you. But if you're visiting this now, you can sign up for my waitlist, and then you'll get emailed when this course comes out. And I think it's going to be really incredible. I have all these different sections to get you really from the grounds up. I've made a cool web interface too, to sort of, so you can have a profile and sort of track your progress and all that stuff. If you're still around with me, if you found this valuable, please give me a like and consider subscribing, because I don't even know what subscribing means. Like for me, I never check my subscribers list on YouTube, but when I subscribe to someone, I know that I'm supporting them in a way, because it matters on YouTube when you get us subscribed to. It's a signal for YouTube to push your video out to a wider audience, because it's a signal that it's working, and liking does that as well. So I'd love to get this video out to a wider audience, because I need that validation. That's why I'm wearing this suit and this nice pants. Can you validate me, please? Thanks for watching, and namaste.